My name is Mackenzie. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. Today, we are going to be reading another book from my favorite author, Silvia Moreno-Garcia, the book being The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. This is a new release for 2022, came out in July of 2022. I haven't read it yet. I'm very excited. I wanted to read it with you guys. So this is a soft retelling of The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. I also ended up purchasing a physical copy of that book so that way I could actually read it, understand it, and then get started with this. So that way I kind of have like a good background of knowledge that I can apply to this reading experience. So first of all, let's look at how beautiful this book is. It's absolutely gorgeous. She is stunning. I love how we have a lot of the island and her house in it and how it's so bright and beautiful. And she kind of cools out this very like hot climate picture, right? If pink and red are hot colors, warm colors, and then we have the blue and the green cool colors, it really draws your eye. It's a gorgeous cover. It's absolutely stunning. I am now collecting all of my Moreno-Garcias in hardcover. I only have this one and Velvet Was the Night in hardcover. I'm looking to get Mexican Gothic in hardcover. If you have a copy you don't own and want to send it to me, let me know. But her other ones have been re-releases of old stories, and so they're only coming out in paperback. So if you have hardcovers of anything, let me know. Let's take off the dust jacket. She doesn't have any end papers in here, which is perfectly fine. However, I just very much love the simplicity of this book. I love the green. And then we have gold right here. And it really makes it look like it's a textbook, which is so cool. Like it would be on an old school library shelf, you know? This book is not too long. It's only 306 pages, including the afterword. Her afterwords are really, really important because they help me like place things in history, because all of her books really take place in either like a Mexican setting or like a very close to the border in California setting, and it always takes place in like the 1970s. For this one, we have the backdrop of 19th century Mexico, which is gorgeous. I love this setting. So if it's only 300 pages, I'll probably, well, what I really like to do is read this one first, and then I will check in with you, talk a little bit about this. Then we'll start this one, and I'd like to check in with you probably twice. Oh, there's a part 2. Oh, wonderful. I'll check in with you at the start of part 2, and then again at the start of part 3. Are we taking place in different years? Part 3 is 1877. Part 2 is still 1877. But part 1 is 1871. So, very interesting. I wonder why part 2 is separated from part 3 if the year is the same. We'll have to decide once we get there. So, I will see you after I've read this one, and then we'll get started on this one. Okay? Okay. Bye! Hi, it's after work. Sorry if the lighting is like kind of garbage and maybe the camera isn't as good quality. This is my front-facing camera. It's the only way we don't get the yellow light from my yellow light. I don't know. Okay, I finished this. It took me 2 days because I'm working and I'm exhausted, but I did it. Sorry if you hear my husband. I'm going to try and talk louder than him. Here, I have the microphone. I don't understand. You shouldn't be picking him up. I think I'm just hearing him. Anyways, this book. For all the context in the world, this was originally published in 1896. So, obviously, it is entirely racist at every point. Like, at even the point where they're talking about how people of color have different brains, and like it was awful. And then it is also very subtly sexist, which I thought was strange. Why be subtle if you're going to be just so blatantly racist? Anyways, thank goodness it was very short. It's only like 113 pages. I don't really know if I recommend that you read it. I don't think that I gained anything by reading it versus just looking up a summary. It was a little bit horrifying, I will say that. And there were conversations about life and how being human is tragic and it's sad, and to force anyone or anything to be human is like a horrible thing to do. I felt like there was also like a discussion on religion. I don't know if it was just like my preconceived notions and how I believe about religion, but there was like a good kind of conversation I felt about if everything that makes you human is a sin, then you will constantly be sinning. And if you are someone who doesn't want to be sinning constantly, that existence is painful and tragic. And so that was kind of like cool. I gained something, I guess. There was a little bit of conversation, but I don't know necessarily like that this conversation won't be had in The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, because Silvia Moreno-Garcia is an amazing writer and she always touches on nuanced things like that. So I really don't think that this was entirely necessary. I am glad that I read it for this video, just so that way I could tell you it's not necessary and you don't have to read it. So don't bother. Read a summary. So now we are finally going to get started on The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. So I will see you at the end of part 1 and we'll kind of talk about what we got going on so far. All right. Bye. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I literally... It's late. The fan's on. Don't worry about it. It's 1,000,000 degrees. I literally just got here. And I was like, I have to update you guys so that way I can keep reading. I'm having a fabulous time. A fabulous time. Okay? So, decidedly after part 1, which is like 51 pages in, I've decided that you absolutely do not need to have read The Island of Dr. Moreau to appreciate this. Because first, this book was starting and I was like, oh my god, the daughter is a hybrid. She is. She has to be, right? And then you realize that like, no, she's not a hybrid, but she does have a disease that Dr. Moreau cured by injecting her with the genes of animals. And it's a really, really interesting because they're talking about like genetic material, but they're not saying genetic material. Obviously, I think this is because it's taking place so long ago. She wasn't the hybrid, but her 2 playmate friends are hybrids. And like, it's a little bit different and it's a little bit, I think, more horrifying. Because there's this whole moment where instead of taking a fully grown animal and vivisecting it, what this Dr. Moreau is doing is creating an organism with the genetic material of humans plus other animals and growing them within the womb of a pig. And then after they grow a little bit, then he has to put them in a glass container that simulates a womb. The daughter, Carlotta, and her 2 playmate friends go into the laboratory to see the hybrid in the glass womb. And they wake it up, and the hybrid is like trying to kill itself. It gives just that amount of dread that being human and alive and conscious of yourself being alive, like that dread is real. So, we're having a wonderful time. In Moreno-Garcia's work, there's always like hints of a love story. It's never a love story, but there are hints of it. And in this one, I'm just really hoping that there really won't be. I hope there won't be, because at the beginning of this story, it's 6 years previous, I believe. So it's 1871. In 1871, Carlotta is 14, and the grown man who comes, Montgomery, who is our second perspective character, he is 29. And 6 years go by, so obviously Carlotta is 20 and Montgomery is 35. I can do math. Don't ask me if I can do math. I can. So I'm really hoping that there's not like an age gap romance, especially considering that Montgomery comes to live on the island in 1871 when Carlotta is 14. So we're 6 years later. Montgomery has taken a job as the mayor domo. That's what they're calling him. But basically, he's going to take care of the hybrids. He's going to watch over the animals. He's going to get more animals, more high quality animals. And you know what I really appreciate about this book is that there's a reason that Dr. Moreau is creating these creatures. It's not a good reason, but it is a reason. And it's not just like him playing God for no reason, which is what the island of Dr. Moreau really made you feel. They really made you feel that like he was just playing God to play God because that's what white men do. But in this one, we're also doing what white men do, which is enslaving people. There's Dr. Moreau, and there is Lizaldi is Dr. Moreau's patron. Lizaldi has like, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but he has land that needs to be worked. And the natives of the land, like, don't trust the white man, obviously. And they don't want to work for the white man, and they rebel, and then they get sick. And then they have also tried importing slaves from the Caribbean, and they also get sick. Because you can't just do that. You can't just uproot somebody without any vaccinations and move them to a new place. The audacity of white men. But at least it gives, like, a reason for Moreau's want to do this. Like, he obviously doesn't like Carlotta because she is just a replacement for his white wife and white daughter who passed away. And so he has an affair with a Latin woman and doesn't care for his Latin daughter. These white men. At the end of part 1, we have the Mayordomo Montgomery saving Carlotta and her 2 hybrid playmate friends. They are, like, supposed to be her age. And, like, it's so strange, too, because Carlotta doesn't describe what they look like. So I assume that they look fairly human. Until she's like, oh, they have fuzz on their cheeks. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. And then you hear about them from Montgomery's perspective, and he's like, they're furred, and they have spots and stripes, and they have claws and teeth, and Carlotta doesn't describe them that way at all. And so it's just really interesting to see, like, what these 2 different people are describing them as. Also considering the fact that Carlotta is a woman of color, and Montgomery is a white man. They're abundant in this story. So we are on to part 2. I will be checking in with you again at part 3. It's the same year, so I can only assume that what distinguishes these 2 parts is like some important point in the story. But I'm really enjoying it. Silvia Moreno-Garcia's writing is captivating and it's like just so interesting. Like, I just want to keep reading and keep hearing words the way that she strings them together, you know? And then always her audiobooks are great. They always have Latin voice actors. They always pronounce everything very, very well. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know Spanish if it wasn't clear. So having the correct pronunciation for a lot of these names, the emphasis, the words, I'm having a rough time just looking at it. And so the narrator is really great. So that's enough of me just jibber-jabbering about my great love for Moreno-Garcia's writing and how I think that this is a great, great substitute, I feel like, for the island of Dr. Moreau. Like, there's no reason that should continue to be taught now that this exists. I don't know if the island of Dr. Moreau is being taught, but if it is, tell your professors or your teachers or whoever is instructing you that this is much better. And also, it has all of the same discussion topics while providing it in a scenario that clearly paints the colonizer as the villain, as they should. And it also places this story into, like, a good... Like, it really gives you a worldview of, like, what's going on, who's colonizing who, and why people are in this government, and why this peninsula is kind of being talked about like it's an island, like, all of this kind of stuff. So it really does a great job of setting the story, setting the scene, setting the world, so that way as you're enjoying this actual story that you can enjoy, you're not, like, as confused as to why people are just so shit, you know? Time to go. I'm gonna read this. I have more to read. I'm so excited. This was so good. Oh, I love Moreno-Garcia. Oh, oh no. Oh no. I think in one of my first updates, I told you guys that I thought that maybe Carlotta was a hybrid. That, like, when I read the first page, I was like, oh, she is for sure a hybrid, right? And then we were reading more, and I saw that her playmates, Lupe and Chiquito, were hybrids. And so I was like, okay, maybe not everybody's a hybrid. Not the case. I was correct, apparently. It is 11:26 at night. I am still planning on reading, I think. After the way part 2 ended, like, there's a definitive moment, right? Because, like, it's not just that we find out, because Carlotta doesn't know. Nobody knows. I fucking knew it, dude. I knew it. Oh, there's nothing better than, like, being right. Now, Eduardo and Hernando, they both know that she is a hybrid, and they are going to come back and probably try and kill Moreau and probably all of the hybrids. This book is, like, so interesting, and, like, I really love it, because it's not just that it's set in the backdrop of the 19th century Mexico, like, as a setting. It's set as in that backdrop, even, like, political wise, and why everything is the way it is. Like, the reason why the hybrids were being created in the first place was to create a workforce that would replace the natives that were in the area. The Mayans, I believe, were the ones that they keep referencing. And there's also this, like, rebel leader that they keep referencing, and how a lot of the reason that Edward had come to Yaxactun in the first place was because he was investigating whether or not the people at Yaxactun were helping the natives as they rebelled against the Mexican government, I believe. It's a rough time. So, like, there's the fact that not only is Eduardo like a scheming man just to, like, get in this girl's pants, I will, like, give it to him, he was totally going to marry her. Until he realized that she was a jaguar, like part jaguar. So they just left Yaxactun. They're probably going to come back and attack. Oh, I think I only have like 104. Yep, there's 304 pages, and I'm on page 200, so I have 104 pages left. I love how, like, beautifully proportioned Moreno-Garcia's books are. Like, they always are just, like, around 300 pages, and they're just perfect. Like, they're always perfect. Nothing is wasted. I love it. I continue to believe that you really don't need the island of Dr. Moreau ever in your life, because this absolutely touches on everything that I thought was kind of important themes of that story. A lot about how religion consistently will make you feel like being human and having human reactions is a sin, and so you are in a constant state of suffering. It's great. It's lovely. I love it. It's beautiful. Okay, I'll see you after the end, and we'll probably just be melancholic that it's over, but love that it happened. I just love Moreno-Garcia. Continue to make works, my goddess. I know. This turned into another, like, long review as opposed to a reading vlog. Whatever. But is anyone surprised that I absolutely loved this? Like, so we found out last night that Carlotta was indeed a hybrid. And in the final part, we are getting, you know, a lot of talk of, like, what she wants to do for the hybrids and how to save them and how to run away and how to get away from this and what to do. And there's a final climax with the Lisaldis, and it was just great. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was lovely. It was just absolutely gorgeous. And then there is an afterword talking about, I always feel like her afterwards should be read, like, beforehand, because it really sets the scene for, like, the historical context of everything. And I think that that is so important in her stories, because her stories are never just about the small story that's happening. It's about the overall historical setting and what that does for all of these small stories, what the actual political climate of this time means for all of these people in this story. And it's just Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous and beautiful and lovely and lush, and there's this consistent, beautiful thing that is done while these animals are being transformed into people. These people are also being compared to animals in such a beautiful way. It's so beautiful. I just love this writing so much. I love it so much. Moreno-Garcia can do no wrong, and I'm just so happy that I read this. Like I said, I'm happy that I read Island of Dr. Moreau mainly because I could tell you guys you don't need it. You only need this one right here. But this was such a lovely, lovely read, and I'm so happy I got to read it. I think the next novel I'm going to read from Moreno-Garcia is going to be Signal to Noise, which doesn't come out until September. But I only have like 1 month left, so like we can make it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you picked up Moreno-Garcia's The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. If you liked this video, I recommend all of her work, so please pick something up. All of them are varying genres. Velvet Was the Night was a crime, but we also have horror like Mexican Gothic. We have Certain Dark Things, which is like a neon noir. It was beautiful. Like, I just so totally recommend her work because not only is everything just a little bit different, she's so beautifully accurate in writing for each genre and telling the story the way it needs to be told, and she's not hung up on like previous writing habits or anything like that. So gorgeous. I loved this. Pick this up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!